Oh, you're fine. I'm gonna share your screen, so. I hate that one. The presentation. So I think it's going on a presentation. There we go. Got it? Yes. Okay, right? Yep. Okay. All right. So now speaking of appraisal, so as I mentioned before, just one thing that I avoid to do is to assume things. So I'll ask them, what about if the house does not appraise? Who's responsible for the difference? And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about a client who went to a builder and made some upgrade for 50K or so. No, I'm not talking about those clients. I'm talking about someone who just got a house with the base price, but still the base price did not appraise. And I want to know from the builder who's responsible for the shortage, right? And the reason I want to do that is because if it has happened in the past, we have that in writing. It's set. We already know who's going to be responsible for that. Because there's one thing you don't want your buyer finding themselves with, I don't know how much they have to bring extra because the house did not appraise, right? So that's, I always ask that question as well. Another question that I always ask is, how many phases do you have in this community? The total, by the time you finish with the project, how many phases you're gonna have? Some of them, they'll tell you, we're gonna have 4 phases. Which phase is this one? End of phase 1 or 2? The reason I'm asking those questions is because I wanna know, okay, so if they have 2 more phases to go, my buyer is gonna have tons of equity by the time this community is done. I'll relate that to my buyer. And also I'm putting them on a drip where 4 years from now, whatever years from now, when that community is done, I'm gonna reach out. You wanna know the value of your house. They may be a prospective seller by then. So that's number 1. Number 2, I wanna know when my client purchased this house on this street. And all those houses will be done. Why? Because I don't want our buyer to be sitting in the middle of construction zone. I wanna make sure that street is done. So then all this stuff, the noise and all that. Most of them, they are very good when it comes to that. They'll make sure that they develop week by week, like street by street. But I have this smaller builder. I have one smaller builder in a forward area. He was developing 40 homes. Out of 40, I sold 17. This builder was the most disorganized person that I've ever seen. He'll sell a house here, he'll sell a house in that street. And I was like, wait. And he was coming from Houston, so I'll give him that. He didn't have the. So I was like, oh, wait, what are you doing? How? So you're telling me that my client is gonna be here and then this street, you go, when are you gonna finish all this? Oh, this is not finishing up until next year. I was like, then we can do that. So then we sat and I guess that was a teaching moment, but for me was very good because I knew that from my past experience dealing with other builders, I was like, no, we can't do that because these folks here, they're gonna be in the middle of construction. By the time you finish here, it's gonna be a couple months in. So then we were able to correct that at least. So that's the reason why I ask all these questions, by the way. Another thing that I do, I ask HOAs, what are the rules and regulations for HOAs? For instance, I may have a client, while we're doing all this, they're telling me I have a home business. I have a daycare, I have a home care, I have whatever type of business they run. I wanna know if HOA in that neighborhood where I'm taking them, they're allowing that. So I realized that most of the time salespeople will tell me, well, I don't know, but then give me the HOA number. I wanna reach out and find out what are the rules in that specific neighborhood. We had a client who was trying to raise some chicken. And then I quickly tell Kelly, we're not taking them to an HOA community because nobody's gonna have chicken around in an HOA. So these are the reason why I ask her in regard to the HOA. But then when we have the extra taxes like MUD, MAD, and PEDS, The reason I want to know that, because that's an extra dollars, on the monthly basis. And I want to know, are my client comfortable with it? I want to understand, I want to know if, I want to really make sure they understand the implication that's going to have in their monthly payment. How long it's going to be there for some of them at 20 years, some of them at 30 years. So I really take time to explain to them so there's no any surprises at the end. That's the reason why. And in conclusion, this is what I would say. Please look at this as a buyer. When you approach this whole process, approach it with a buyer's mindset, as if you are building your own house. What type of questions are you going to ask the builder, the salesperson, or the lender? Once you have that mindset, it's going to alleviate a lot in the process, and it's going to miscommunication, really, you're not going to have less and less of that, because this is your home. You are building your home. What type of question, as a consumer, as a buyer, do I have for the builder? Once you have that, just ask them. They love when you ask them. That's one side. Another thing, for me, at least for me, I treat these builders as my client. Folks asking me, how do you get deals? How do they call you? Well, these people are my client. I know them. I know the spouses if they're married. I know the kids. I know when someone is on vacation. I know when someone has a birthday. If somebody's sick, I know because I reach out and then I send something, I have this one salesperson. She's as blonde as anybody can come. But every time when she introduced herself, she said, "Hi, I'm Shannon and I'm Patricia's sister." Look at me. But she introduced herself as my sister everywhere to my client. Like, "Hey, I'm Patricia's sister. I can help you." So I have those relationships. Those salespeople, they will tell you who to work with in a different community. Now, when I want to go to a different community, I call one of my folks. "Hey, who do you have in this community? I'm going there." And I don't want to get the mean one. And they say, "Oh, go and talk with so-and-so." Before you get there, they already know who you are, what you have done in the business and things like that. That's helped a lot. So that's the way I keep with them. I just treat them like my client, and it goes a long way. Go ahead for you guys today. So I don't know if the question, things like that. Seriously, yes, ma'am.
First of all, thank you. Great information. Do you do anything with those on-site reps to maintain so that when they know you're coming, they're going to be happy to see you? Do you give a little follow-up, like cookies or just notes, or how do you appreciate them to build that relationship where they want to work with you?
Sure. So like most of them, I know their birthdays, and on their birthdays, they receive a cookie or card, like handwriting card, and then I'll reach out. Some of them, we go for dinners and lunches, and they'll reach out to you. They say, "So this is the thing." They'll say, "Patricia, can we go for lunch?" I'll say, "Hey, let me call you back." Why? I don't want them to pay for my lunch. I want to pay for their lunch. And I'll say, "Sorry, this week is not going to work, but I'll let you know when I'm ready." And then I'll make it happen. Like, "Hey, you want to go for lunch? I can come to you. You don't even have to drive to me." Then I'll go for lunch and things like that. Some of them have met the spouses. Some of them have met the children. I know who's graduating from college, So I really, to respond to your question, I take it to a personal level, showing them how much I appreciate them as a client, not as a sales rep. Now, sometimes I receive phone calls. "Patricia, I have someone who came by. I'm having a difficulty understanding them. Would you mind taking them?" Thinking maybe someone with an accent is an African. They're not. They speak English perfectly fine. But it's a way of them to say thank you as well. So when you really take care of your builders, in my opinion, it's going to go a long way.
So as a follow-up, when you build those relationships, are there times where you can send your clients to them without you and know that you have the trust, they have the trust?
All the time, all the time. Like the lady I was talking about, leverage, they're becoming my showing agent when it comes to builders. Because but it's a free showing agent. I'm not paying them anything, right? But they'll say, hey, who do you have? I say, well, I have this one who I want to send to this community, this one. And Shannon, the lady that I was talking with, I've been working with her for years. She'll say, well, send them to my community. I'll show them my product. Then I'll take them to a different Dear Horton community, if it's Dear Horton first. Why? Because I came to understand, even if it's not their community, they can still sell and make the commission in a different community. So to your point, yes, leverage my time.
So it's great. I'm sorry. So it sounds like you've got a good supply of buyers for new homes. Where do they come from?
Strictly referrals. Strictly referrals. Like Kelly may say, what, 90% or 95%? They're just referral.
Previous clients or
Previous clients or
builders?
folks that don't know me and builders. Because sometimes you ask them, hey, who gave you my number? Well, I was at the builder and I saw your card.
So in reverse, I said I was going to shut up. Do you have builders call you and say, we have somebody interested in one of our homes, but they need to sell a home first?
Yes.
We recommend you.
Yes.
Do you have that?
Yes.
Good.
I had that before where they'll say, well, I have someone who's, or sometimes I'll be at the builder's office because I like to pop out just to say hi. And when I'm popping, like, oh my God, Patricia is here. She's a great realtor. And I know you are, listing your house, you're thinking of selling. Get her contact. She knows, and this is this builder, specific to builders, she knows this area very well. Before we put a house on the MLS or out there, we're gonna reach out to her. So if anybody who knows first, it's her. He's just puffing up. I mean, everybody knows about this house, but it's the relationship that I have with him, right? And I'll get the contact and follow up and things like that. And when I reach, I say, oh my God, thank you so much. He will say, nobody's counting. You're just being you and I'm being me. Why? Because there's that trust now. Assassinating folks there without even being there.
What kind of incentives are you currently seeing builders offering their clients?
Not only reducing the price. So in this marketplace, like right now, today, when you go to a builder, they say this price is $450. Please don't give $450. They're gonna reduce the price. I mean, it's all that's just like it's negotiable now. We are going back to, I don't know. I've not been in the business for so long, but I hear people say, no, we are going back to 20, whatever. Yeah, we are going back right there. Where we used to negotiate with builders.
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic, yes. So we are negotiating with builders. They're also giving money toward closing with or without the in-house lender. Because this is another thing. I put so much work with my buyers up front. I qualify them before taking them to anybody because I don't want to waste their time and I don't want to waste my time. I take through the lender, everything. So when I'm going to that builder, they already know that I'm coming with someone who's approved. And we're not going to do that thing of an in-house lender. We don't do that because I told them, I'm not going to repeat what I just did. I did a lot of work before getting them approved. And they know it, and we show record because we close them loans. So now I just bring my buyers with my own lenders, and they'll take whatever it's going, they will apply to my lenders. So that's also a plus.
I think I just want to say one thing that she does very well is first-time home buyers. What she does is we have a list of people that are going through credit repair all the time. Like it's a never ending. And she helps them get to that place. When the builder calls, we already have a list of people who are ready to go. So we're not like trying to find somebody. We have a list ready to go.
So do you have a credit repair company that you use, or is it your lender? What is your process?
So the process is we have to, I'll say, okay, we started with the lender. Lenders now are giving, what is it? A game plan, right? If you pay this, you pay this, you pay this, you can have whatever. It's gonna boost you to your credit. If the lender see that there's so much in there, then we send them, we have a system, we send them to a credit repair that we strictly work with them. And once that is approved, then we go into the whole process. So we have like a whole process that we do. Like right now, we're putting folks but we have folks that gonna even close next year. I mean, we have a list that is going, we never stop. So once I've done all that, and I even challenged one of the regional managers. So DR Horton has east side and west side. So one of the west side general, manager called me, Patricia, I don't understand. Why don't you try DHI? Meaning as a lender. So then I told him, you want to know the truth, the real truth? And he said, yeah, I agree. That's why I'm calling you. I was like, because it looks like your lender, you're getting them straight from school. They don't think outside the box, and I can't take that. That's the reason why I always come with my lenders. I mean, that's the truth, right? Because I was like, I'm not trying to take away no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm representing my buyers. These are my clients. And every time I've tried your lender multiple times, but always come to, oh, well, you approve them for a very low amount. And I know, no, something is not correct. So since we had that conversation, he tried to say, okay, can I bring you, can we have lunch? And then I'm gonna bring the head of DHI. I was like, yeah, I can do that. So we met and I explained the same thing. I was like, it's not like I'm taking business away from you guys. I've tried and it's always a headache. Therefore, I prefer to bring my lender. From that time, now when I bring my lender from outside with my client, we have the same benefits. You'll give them the same closing costs. If there's a closing cost they're giving and everything together. Yes.
I was gonna say, how do you overcome that? Because my experiences with DHI and DR Horton has been that in order for the buyer to get those incentives, which I think that 4th of July, they were running a tremendous special. In order for them to get that, is they have to use DHI mortgage.
I had 3 folks went through the same weekend, and I wasn't even here, I was on vacation. They went through the same process with an outside lender.
And they still getting those incentives?
Why? Because I asked them, who's making the decision? I want to talk to that person. I'll give you a perfect example. Last year, we had a delay by a week, and they want to cancel. The salesperson called me like, Patricia, I'm really sorry, but we're gonna have to cancel because it was a 1 week delay. And I said, her name is Jennifer. Jennifer, who said that? She said, well, it's not me. I tried, but headquarters. I was like, who in headquarters? I want to talk to them. Then she said, why? I was like, I know why you guys are trying to cancel. You are trying to cancel because you already got the appraisal back, and you are trying to bring back the price that came from that appraisal, which I understand. But what you don't understand, this family is gonna be out on the street by the end of whatever the day was. So I'd rather speak with that person to increase, and the price was $7,000 difference from what we went under contract to the new price. I was like, let me speak with them. We agreed to take the new price. I keep the same buyer on there. I don't know if that possible. I was like, it's okay. Just let me talk to them. So then she gave me the number. It was a lady. So I mean, it's a lady, and this is my client will just have a baby. I mean, you're gonna have the heart for it, right? So I explained my client's story, situation, what happened and whatever. I was like, and I understand in a business perspective, you are trying to make the difference of 7K, which is fine. We agree, we're gonna increase to 7K. They can get approved for that. Let's close in 10 days instead of waiting 30 days. She said, let's do it. So things like that, you challenge them, but don't just challenge anybody. Know who's making the decision. Because that lady, when she made a decision, Jennifer called me like, I don't know what you told her, but they say we can increase by 10 days and we close on the deal.
So way back in 2016, before you had the business you have now, how did you walk into those offices and establish your credibility?
Okay, so I just introduced myself. My background is in finance, right? And this is this is what I say. Well, real estate is new to me, but math still the same across the board. Business, it's still business, either in real estate or in a core bank. I have a track record, and every time when I'll have a buyer, you'll be the first deal that I'm gonna bring them to. That was it. And I fulfill on that. When I had a buyer, I'll take them. And after time, we have done.
Thank you.
Did you focus on certain areas or did you, new builds? I might have missed it earlier, but.
So that's exactly what I did. When I was interviewing them, I was trying to connect with one. Just one in each area, right? And you connect how? By knowing the story. Right? If you know, I know one who has 2 daughters and he loves his daughter. So then I start talking about my daughter all the time. Or when I go there, I ask him about the daughter, and we talk about it, and then he likes to travel. Then I'll bring country that I've been to, and we connect to that level. Then once I do that, we become buddies. And then you laugh because his name is Henry, right? And I'll ask him, I say, hey, Henry, which day of whatever. Every time I bring someone from a different country, we say, where are you from? Where are you from? And then we ask him, okay, so which day of the month were you born? And then he said, I was born on Sunday or whatever. In this client, the client that I was bringing there, in their country, when you're born on a Sunday, you have a specific name. From that day, we named him Kwame. Now, when he introduced himself, I say, my name is Kwame. So when you connect with those folks like that, it's just a long friendship that you guys started. Yes.
What's your goal for this year of new home construction? Are you gonna meet it?
My goal in total is 100. Since I closed 90% on that, so probably 90. We'll see. My goal, 100 units. Yes.
I wanted them there.
Yes, the units. Yes, yes.
Hi. Ask if anybody on Zoom.
Anybody on Zoom has a question? Oh, I could probably they were asking here, right?
Maybe they're in the chat, but they can unmute themselves and ask a question.
Okay. So if anybody has a question on Zoom, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Going once. Yeah. Oh, I guess it was 3 as the first question. Yes.
Compare your clients with some of the builders, I know not all of them do, but the ones that do have the escalation clauses and that, how did you
Yeah,
prepare for that?
Yeah, we talked about it because once before they did the escalation clause, they sent an email to everybody, right? We knew what was going on. So then we had a one-on-one conversation like, hey, because of the shortage in the market and material and things like that, the price may change, but they will let you know in advance. I had only with one Sadland Homes, they're the only one who changed the price, and it was by $6,000, no, $12,000. But my buyer was already prepared because they knew what was going on in the market. If anything, I would say, guys, communication is the key. The reason I ask all these questions, someone will say, wow, why do you go through all that? Well, because we want to come across as an expert. That's one. Number two, put yourself in their shoes. If there's some unanswered question that you have, you become very uncomfortable and keep watching, your back, like what is happening. But once you communicate with them, well, the question will never end, for sure. But when you communicate the base, they know the structure, they know the whole process, it's becoming easier. I have like a one paragraph where it shows the process, the way we do meet with Patricia, go through the lending, if need a credit repair, go through credit repair, approval, set up homes and search. So they know. But sometimes they will ask and I'll say, remember that good thing we looked at it, this is the whole process.
Are you having all your buyers get their own inspector for their new builds?
We have a list of inspectors that we send to them, and we do that. I know some folks who do 3 months, 6 months, and so forth. That is for my high-end clientele, like the one who are building in the millions. But if you are not 300, 400, I'll say, listen, let's do the inspector before your 1 year is up. Why? Because the builder will give you'll be covered for 1 year, and you can submit the entire inspection report and they'll cover it. So I would say, let's wait for within a year, because now you're living in the house, you know what the defect and so forth. Unless if it's emergency, you call an emergency number. But other than that, we wait within a year. We bring an inspector and then they inspect the house and then a report is to do. Yes. Yes.
You find that most builders are cooperative about letting outside inspectors come in and inspect the work.
As long as,
They don't like it.
no, when you tell them in advance, I mean, that's you, it's your right as a consumer.
Yeah,
Yeah, they may push back, but then I'll push back again gently, like very nicely. And say, well, it's their right as a consumer, respect, I mean, this is a lifetime investment, right? But you wanna do the same thing if they're building your house. And they will agree.
I've had them say they can inspect, but they can't go on the roof, for example. Or something like, what? Like, because of liability.
Yeah, I've never,
You don't have that.
no.
I'm gonna say, when I had my house built, my inspector found problems on the roof
Yeah.
that were, I mean, they probably sent me the pictures, but in the office. Units that we couldn't see some ground. So, and that was bothering me a lot.
Yeah.
They couldn't get on the roof.
Well, I think today though, with the drone shots, some of the inspectors are able to do the roof by drone.
Correct.
And the builders are allowing that.
Correct. I've never had any push. Well, I have, especially those new builders, they just started. I mean, I new sales person, and I can tell who just started because they'll come with all this. And I was like, okay, it looks like you're changing from one to another. The person who was here before you never mentioned anything like that. And they will step back, you know, and yeah, I mean, it's just reality. Because they're so zeal.
So you do enough work and research where you know more about the process than most of the salespeople.
Yeah, I remember, speaking of knowing the process more than salespeople, I went to one and we submitted an offer and I was like, hey, we're gonna go whatever lower. And then we asked him, washer, dryer, garage opener and blind. And she said, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Like, just, it's an offer. That's why it's called an offer. It's not a contract. They just submit it and see what they say. She's becoming my sister. She's Shannon that I'm talking about. She said, Patricia, you have no idea. That was my second week. When you told me that, it took me back like, okay, she must know what she's talking about. Then I submitted your offer and then she called me like, oh my God, oh, no. And then we asked her for $5,000 to our cost. So when she came back, she said, well, they gave you everything except the money. I was like, yeah, we'll take it. That's why it's an offer. From that point, we became buddies. She said, the reason I said they couldn't do that because whoever was training me never mentioned anything like that. So when you said that, I was like, no. Then you said, yes. I was like, okay, she's right. It's just an offer. It's not a contract. But you don't know until you ask, right? So we became very, very good friends. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.